Okie dokie. Episode we got here today. I would say 566. Yep, 566. All right. Let's get busy, y'all. Busy, y'all. Episode 566. 565, man. That was one of the dirtiest penny rolls I've ever done. Super ultra dirty. I get it, man. You need 50 cents for whatever. You're bringing your pennies back to the bank, The problem's on the other end of that transaction. Whoever gets your filthy pennies. First copper penny? Yep. 1969. All right. I keep watching the news to see if this guy is going to change well, not him personally, see if he's going to fire Powell or the Fed chair, or if Powell's going to change the interest rates. And it's a tricky. I mean, so many people have so many different opinions on it. Inflation, interest rates, the economy, things like that. The economy is only a problem if it's a problem. So if you're doing fine, you might not care too much about the economy. I mean, the only people who care about food are people who are hungry. It's sad, but it's true. If we were taught how to be, financially intelligent in grade school, a lot of this wouldn't have been an issue either. I had to learn all this on my own. I mean, I had a couple people along the way, just a couple. And the only reason I listened to them is because I respected them. Otherwise, it was live for the day, And I wonder if that's it looks like a hit mark. No white AM. That live for the day nonsense is a stupid way to live. I mean, if you were gonna die tomorrow, yeah, live for today. But most of you are gonna live for a very long time. So that's why live for today makes no sense if you're gonna live for many more tomorrows. And the funny thing is, the closer you get to death, the more responsible you're gonna behave. How hilarious is that? Or ironic, or whatever you want to call it. Right? When people have a lot to live for, they live reckless. And when they have, well, in my opinion, less to live for, then they want to live forever. And, you can't just say, oh, that's life. That's the way it is. It's not the way. It's how we're taught. We're taught not to care at a young age, play video games, eat junk. College isn't, education isn't important. Education isn't important to poor people. The people who have money, education is real important. And it should be the opposite way around. Should be the opposite way around. Well, actually, it should be important to everybody. When I was a kid, education was important to everybody. Now you got people on the internet saying, "Yeah, you don't need an education." That's a nice one. $1992 No close ain't. So anyway, the point, the antecedent to this discussion was interest rates in the economy. It's another nice looking penny. Really nice. And somehow I got sidetracked, and instead of talking about other things, oh yeah, how it wouldn't matter too much if we were, if you know how to invest correctly, you could actually make money off of inflation, right? Because people with assets are the ones who benefit most from inflation. So I guess that's why I get a little amped up about the discussion about it, is because it's really a crime against poor people. Inflation is, because it helps people with assets out, and we're not taught to get assets at a young age, right? If we were taught to get assets at a young age, it wouldn't matter as much to us. Actually, you might actually be able to get rich off inflation, especially periods of high inflation. So if you bought something for $1 and it went up 5% a year, for 10 years, it would go up 50%. It'd be worth $1.50 in 10 years, which might not be, life changing for the person who spent it for $1. If you bought $1 million worth of things, though, now in 10 years, you got 1.5 million. And that might be life changing. Also, in a period of high inflation, everything has went up what in the past 3 years? 100%. I mean, there's no more 99-cent meal, man. Now it's $3. Now it's dollar. I mean, did it go up 2% in the past 3 years? So that means for the person who bought something 3 years ago for $1, today it's worth $3. So if you bought $1 million worth of something 3 years ago, in 3 years, it's $3 million. I mean, you want to talk about hedging your bets. Anyway, so what does that have to do with another nice copper penny? What does that have to do with whether or not interest rates go down or not? Well, if interest rates go down, people are more likely to take out loans. It's that simple, right? You can take out a loan, whatever your credit allows you to take out a loan for. You can max out everything, and if it doesn't work out, you could always just file for bankruptcy. But they're not going to give you a life-changing loan. Well, they might, but you're not going to be able to pay it back if the interest rate is high, or it's going to be much more difficult to pay back. It's going to be much less attractive if interest rates are high. So right now, interest rates are whatever, 4.5. This guy wants to bring it down to 0, which is similar to what it is in other countries. And if they did bring it down to 0, that's a huge difference. I'm just saying theoretically, if your loan went from 10% to 5%, let's say on $100,000, Well, let's go by a interest rate that I'm familiar with. On a $35,000 loan, I had a car for $35,000, 0% interest rate for 4 years. It was like $650, give or take. But let's say if it was 5%, excuse me, let's say it was 5 or 6%, it might have been a $750 loan per month. It makes a big difference. High interest rates make a huge difference for the price of things, especially the longer you take to pay. Right, the further out you push the amortization of the loan, the length out for your payments. So people would buy stuff, right? So if you're in the business of selling stuff, the lower interest rates are, the more you're going to sell. So obviously, people who don't have things to sell, might not care about any of that. That was copper, but it stimulates the economy. And in effect, it might even create more inflation. But again, it depends what you're in the business of. So that was just something I was thinking about this morning prior to making a video. I know he went and by the time this video is uploaded, there might be other stuff going on. It might have already have happened. I think they were talking about July bringing the rate down by a quarter point. Or 25 basis points. They use all this language to make things complicated. 25 basis points. 0.25% interest rate. A quarter of a percent interest rate. They call it 25 basis points, so people don't understand what the hell they're doing. Oh, nice die clash. What do you think? Think this is copper? Wow. Yeah, I think this is. Man, it looks like copper. What an absolute. It might not. It looks like copper to me. What a stunner, man. What is that? It's funny, right? It's copper. It should be yellow all the way through, but it's like silver right there. That's so odd. What a beauty. Except for that, man. It would have been just about perfect. Okay, well, that's our conversation for today. I know some people just listen to the video, don't even watch me do a coin roll hunting. And some people listen to it while they do their penny roll hunting. And some people actually watch it to the end. Anybody who's still here at the end, thank you very much. God bless. Click like and subscribe, and I'll see you in episode 567.